So one of my favorite things to do with a tortilla is to make a breakfast taco, and I've been having a lot of them. So I have my soft, well, it was soft, scrambled eggs, a little bit on each side. Then this is something I learned from Korean barbecue, is that cooked kimchi goes so well with eggs. The flavor is more concentrated. You get like a spicy, sour kick. Of course, bacon goes really well with eggs and kimchi, so it's a no-brainer. Avocado adds a nice creaminess, totally optional if you don't have any. Some green onions to garnish. Now, is that a breakfast taco or is that a breakfast taco? I could eat this every single day and not get sick of it. It's just like the perfect blanket to hug my eggs in the morning. I'm gonna show you guys how to make the fluffiest, most perfect pancakes, and it's so easy. So here I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour that's leveled and scooped, and I'm just gonna add it into a mixing bowl. Then I have 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. You can decrease it down to 1 tablespoon if you don't want it too sweet. So now to make our pancakes nice and fluffy, I'm gonna add our leavening. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we give our dry ingredients a mix. So that's it for the dry ingredients. Now, if you guys wanted to make this ahead and package it up, this would be your pancake mix. And then you can add in the wet ingredients when you're ready to cook it. And I'm gonna show you guys what you need for that. So I have some milk here. We have 3/4 of a cup of milk. And to that, I'm gonna crack in 1 egg. Then we'll add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. With a fork, I'm gonna give it another mix. And then we'll mix the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients together. When you're mixing the batter together, try your best not to overmix it. It's okay if it looks lumpy. That's what's gonna create those beautiful air bubbles and make your pancakes really fluffy. This is how I usually like my pancake batter. It's kind of thick and it just like barely runs off your spatula. And then once you're done mixing, I like to let it sit for about 2 minutes to really hydrate the flour and, you know, make it easier to cook. So on medium heat with a nonstick pan, I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. I'll melt the butter and let it coat the bottom of the pan. You don't want the heat too hot because it could burn, but then once it's hot, we'll add a scoop of our pancake batter. So when I'm scooping it, I'm looking for about 1/4 cup here. I'll let it cook for about a minute 15 seconds until you see bubbles emerge on the raw part of the pancakes. That's when you know it's ready to be flipped. Flip it over, cook it for another minute, and this is when you see it kind of puff up and get really fluffy, and that's what you want. After each pancake, get like a damp paper towel with tongs and just wipe any excess like burnt butter so that it doesn't get onto your pancakes. So how do you guys know when this is done? Definitely set a timer, but you can always look at the edge right here where it puffed up, and if it looks like it's pretty cooked through, there's no like raw dough peeking out, it's done. Look how fluffy that is. So we all know plain pancakes with maple syrup is really good, but I like adding things into mine, and my kids love it too. So I'm gonna add mini chocolate chips to make it even better. So how I like to serve the chocolate chip ones for my kids is I put a dollop of vanilla Greek yogurt on top and then some strawberries. How easy is that? And then you can drizzle some maple syrup on too for added sweetness. For our classic pancakes, let me tell you my favorite combo. Salted butter with a drizzle of maple syrup so it balances out. It is the best. I love these baked oats. It's almost like a pudding souffle all in one. So I'm gonna start with rolled oats here, and I'm just gonna add it directly into the blender bowl. So I actually love this recipe because it's a pretty complete breakfast. You have oats, you have fruit, you have eggs in there too. So I'm just gonna add 1 egg directly in here. Then we have some milk, pinch of cinnamon, baking powder, and to sweeten it up, just a tiny bit of maple syrup. And then another really great use for your spotty bananas, just like 1/3 of this banana. All right, so this is the base for your baked oats, and now I like to just change up the flavors, and my recent favorite that I'm really loving is a berry ginger combo. 1/4 inch, about this big, and then we blend it up before adding in our berries. The great thing about this is that you don't have to worry about over mixing because there's no gluten, but you just want like a smooth batter. So I love integrating berries into my breakfast. I love blackberries, and I'm just gonna chop it in half, and then we're gonna add it to our baked oats along with some blueberries. I want to burst a berry in every bite. And then I like to add some on top as well. A berry-licious baked oat. So now I just bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 15 to 18 minutes. You don't want to dry it out because then it's not that good. So I always slightly under bake it and it turns out perfectly. This looks so good, and you know what? It actually reminds me of those mug cakes. And I have to admit, this isn't one of those like quick grab and go breakfasts, but it's well worth the effort. This is so yummy. This next one is also one that I've been seeing all over social, the custard or yogurt toast. So it's hard to see the originator of this. The furthest back I could see was by Justine Snacks on December 4th. Okay, let's try this. So here is, okay, she starts by adding some yogurt, but I pulled it up and actually she uses ricotta. Well, we're still gonna use yogurt because everybody else has been making it with yogurt. If you guys know the originator of this recipe, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Egg, honey, some cinnamon, and then in the recipe she also has listed zest of an orange, which I think is actually kind of neat to kind of bring out the flavor. And then a pinch of salt. Whisk it up. Okay, so far so good. It looks nice and custardy. So now we add it to our toast. So she didn't do this, but I see a lot of people, they like press down the middle of the toast and then they add the custard right in the middle. And then for mine, I'm just gonna sprinkle some blueberries right on top. Plop it on a baking sheet and I'll just toast it for like 5 minutes. It doesn't look totally set yet. Okay, so they didn't specify how long to bake it for. She just said to bake until golden. The bread is definitely golden, and anymore, I'm scared that it's gonna risk burning it. Oh, they also drizzled some honey on top, so let me do that too. This was a messy one. I do have to tell you guys, I tried doing this recipe in my air fryer and the top set a lot better. So I'm thinking the air fryer is probably the way to go. Vietnamese egg coffee. It's like a dessert and coffee in one. So first I'm gonna brew my shot of espresso using a Vietnamese coffee filter, aka Fin. And I'm just gonna add 3 tablespoons of coffee grounds. I like using this one by Cafe Du Monde. It's coffee with chicory. It just adds a lot of really delicious depth and like strong coffee flavor. It's super strong. Just a word of warning here. So now that it's in my coffee filter, I'm just gonna even it out, level it out, and then tamp it down. And then what I like to do is first bloom the coffee with some hot water. Let it go through. So you gotta let it bloom, you know, because otherwise if you fill the whole thing with water at the beginning, it just goes and then you just set like coffee flavored water. All right, now we're gonna fill it all the way up. So our coffee is done. I'm gonna set it aside while we work on the egg mixture. Yes, the egg mixture. I'm only gonna be using the egg yolks, so you can save the egg whites for an omelet or a wrap, whatever you want. Whoa, look how fresh and orange this yolk is. That was a healthy egg. So now we're gonna add some condensed milk. I love condensed milk. It adds like a really yummy sweetness and it's gonna help this foam up. Now a little tiny bit of vanilla extract and then whip it up. You can whisk it with a regular whisk using arm strength, or you can use this Aero Latte, which also does a really great job, or a hand mixer, which is what I usually do it with, but I think today I'm gonna try this guy. Okay, so what I want it to do is basically double in volume and get really airy and frothy. If you were to use the hand blender, it would go by really fast. So maybe I'll switch gears. What you're looking for is just this very like foamy, thick consistency. And it should be like a pale yellow, or in my case, orange, because the egg was really beautifully orange. Okay, so the coffee here is still nice and steaming hot. You still want it to be really hot so it kind of cooks the egg a little bit. Not all the way, but it's totally fine. And then we'll just spoon our mixture right on top of the coffee and watch it float. And now I'll just dust the top with some cocoa powder. And that right there is Vietnamese egg coffee. It looks like a tiramisu in a cup. So I love it like this. Just pick it up and drink it and just get a little bit of that cream, mustache on your face, or you can mix it up. This looks way prettier to drink like this, so I'm gonna show you guys and then I'm gonna mix it up. Okay, so that's how I like to drink it. Just get that little bit of an egg cream mustache. Typically, you would just mix it up with a spoon and just combine everything. It's foamy still on top, and it's sweet, but not too sweet. It almost tastes like a caramel latte, except you know there's no caramel in there and there's an egg. It's just a really cool drink that is getting really popular today, and I'm all about that. All right, so if you still want to infuse some veggies into your morning breakfast, I've got a mushroom toast for you. This one is super easy to make too. So in my pan, I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on medium-high heat, and then I have 2 types of mushrooms that I got. This one is a sliced shiitake mushroom, and it's so flavorful. Probably one of my favorite mushrooms, and I like to mix it with some sliced baby bellas. Season it with some salt and pepper, saute it for a quick minute, and then I add some sliced onions and garlic to just perfume it. Some fresh thyme, just like a sprig. Is it too early for white wine in here? Because I feel like it would be the perfect complement. But I'm actually just gonna add a little bit of butter and then a handful of spinach. Just cook everything together. Got my sliced sourdough, and on top of the sourdough, I'm just gonna add a little bit of cream cheese. And then our spinach and mushrooms, they're friends because as you can see, they wilt down to nothing. Finally, some Parmesan, and I'll tell you how it tastes. Super savory, simple, and satisfying. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more delicious recipes. I will see you guys next time. Bye!